Hi, my name is Sabarish. I'm based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've been working in telecommunication industry for over a decade now. I started this business as a student. I was doing my master's in electrical engineering, and that's really when I got an opportunity to network with Leadership One community for the first time. Congratulations to you on earning your mentorship offer, and you're welcome to the Leadership One Apprentice program. As you're starting your business, one of the things that you want to get good at is learning how to represent your own business. Because whether we like it or not, this question is going to get thrown at you several times, which is, hey, what do you do? And this is a question that may be something that you're expecting because of the way the conversation is going, or it can even come out of a blue. In fact, when I started my business, my good friend observed that I was using good amount of Amway products. He saw that I was attending some meetings, some workshops, networking with people, and he started getting curious, and asking me questions like, "Hey, what's going on? What are you up to?" Okay. See, when that question is coming on your way, you want to be very ready. Okay, you want to really sound crisp. You want to sound smooth, and the goal is to create enough curiosity such that people want to know and learn what you're trying to accomplish. See, before I get into specifics, I want to make this clear. Whatever I'm sharing is just based on my experience. So, what I would recommend listening to this audio is to go back and sit with your coach and get an understanding of what would be the best approach you can have for your own business. Okay. In my mind, there are two ways in which you can approach this question. When somebody asks you, what do you do? Either you can tell your problem statement or you can tell your leverage statement. Okay. Problem statement means you tell the world what you're trying to accomplish. What is your problem? What is it you're trying to solve? What is your industry? What is your opportunity? What is your business? Things like that. And this leverage statement means who are you leveraging? Your access to the community of Leadership One business owners. Or you can talk about what you're learning, like who are the people who is influencing you in terms of your mindset, your skill set, your knowledge, what you're gaining. And of course, your own coach who is actually helping you provide that one-on-one mentorship. Okay. What I understood initially when I was building my first 10 people team is the what or the problem statement approach was not working so effectively for me as much as the leverage statement, the who side. Because I had to understand that until I have some evidence in the business world, nobody's going to take me seriously. Okay, that's the catch-22, the cold start problem of every business, which is until you show some results, you will never create more results. It's like which comes first, right? That's why, like, going back to my friend's example, when he asked me, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you actually, getting into all these calls? What are you trying to do?" This was my response to that "what do you do" question, which was, hey, I'm trying to learn e-commerce business, which is honestly not a great way to answer. I would not recommend anybody do that. But guess what? That was my starting point. And when I said that, the good part is he was very curious. That conversation went for another 30, 40 minutes, and he was asking all kinds of possible questions and understanding what I'm trying to do. But the bad part is, even after 30, 40 minutes of me trying to explain, of course, in my own version, what I think is this business, he was just stopping at a curiosity level. He was not intrigued. In fact, he was not even taking any plan of action to do more towards this business. In fact, this is like how that conversation ended. He was like, hey, before all this, do you even just make sure you pay me back for all the money you owe from the last night's dinner, right? Because guess what? He knows who I am. He's not going to take me seriously. I have not created results yet. And that's why the leverage side, the who side works like wonders, because you can always borrow your coach's credibility, Leadership One's communities, their knowledge, their experience, their results. And the moment I used my coach kind of as an anchor to my business, where my coach could bring in their accomplishments and their experience, and as long as I can just bring my trust from my sphere of influence, my coach was able to effectively help me build my first initial team of 10. And so if you're someone who's new and learning how to approach people and building a network, these are 3 things I would recommend. Okay. Step 1, role plays. ask your coach for their availability and see how you can do some good amount of role plays. So role plays are basically mocks of how this conversation is going in real world. In fact, I would even recommend you to go prepared for these role plays with questions that you can even predict your friends and family might ask you about your own business. Or it could be questions that is bothering you, like, hey, if somebody asks me this question, I don't know what to say. And ask these questions to your coach and observe how they answer that. And do the reverse, where you want to actually answer, because there is one aspect about you learning about what your coach is saying, but just because we understand something doesn't mean we can implement it. So I always encourage to practice. Like, you should be able to let your coach be the friend who's asking you questions and start having conversations and get a feedback from your coach. How good are you in answering? Step 2 after role play is work ethic. Because initially, I remember the amount of conversation I had about business after role plays was not so great, because in my mind, I was not feeling so confident, and I am thinking that probably I'll play this game smart, because the moment I build skill set, I'll actually make less mess ups in the outside world, and then I'll actually start approaching people. But it took me a while to understand that until I have some good work ethic, my skill set will never improve. I kind of was refraining from doing the work. Okay. See, you can never steer a parked car. The car has to first start moving and then you steer its direction. Like we cannot learn how to swim by just watching swimming videos on YouTube. Okay, somewhere you gotta jump into a 10 feet pool. You will feel like drowning. You will feel like you are gasping for breath. You will drink some probably the water and intentionally, and all those are the part of the game. So never refrain from doing enough work. In fact, the first conversation I had about this business, like with this friend, was pathetic. It's like literally after 40 minutes, nothing happened. But the fifth conversation was a little okay. Like I would say it was bad, but better bad. My 10th was pretty good actually. In fact, my 20th was excellent. And that is really the only way to learn any skill set, right? Whether you learn a new language in coding, or you want to learn how to ride a bike, or you want to, whatever skill set you're learning. And the last thing, after role plays, after having consistent work ethic, and the third and equally important is feedback. See, when I said that my 20th intro was excellent and my first was pathetic, it was not like I was trying to do the same conversation, the same communication skills, the same way of answering the questions. My 20th conversation was version 20.0 of me. Every conversation I had, I wanted to see if I can borrow my coach's time to have a feedback, a small discussion of what happened in that conversation, right? Because I still remember those days, because my coach would never put the pressure on me in terms of results, right? The discussion were never about what the result of that conversation was. Does that person said yes or no, or maybe. That was not the focus. The focus was always on the learning curve, okay? On what can we learn from that experience, that conversation. If that conversation has to happen another time, what are the things that we would change, right? And every time you do a conversation with somebody on explaining what you do, and then you have a feedback loop, guess what? By the time you get into a 5th, 6th, 7th conversation, you have mastered it. Okay. And I hope that helped you guys, and something to keep in mind. All the best for your journey, and I wish you good luck in finishing what you started.